In the digital age, our identity is our address. .com, .org, .gov, these simple suffixes define who we are, what we do, and where we belong. And in the last few years, a new address has risen to define our entire future, .ai. It's the flag of a revolution. The symbol of the new machine intelligence. We see it everywhere on startups, on research papers, on the projects that are actively reshaping our world. But what if this flag represents the wrong-colored sky? What if this symbol, adopted by the entire world, is actually an accident of history, a new form of digital and linguistic colonization, hiding in plain sight? The .ai domain is not an abstract concept. It is the official country code top-level domain, or CCTLD, for Anguilla, a tiny British overseas territory in the Caribbean. Through a quirk of fate, their two-letter code became the sexiest, most valuable digital real estate on the planet. And good for them. But this historical accident has created a profound and deeply flawed foundation for the future. The problem isn't just symbolic. The .ai registry is technically limited. It is a product of an older internet. It does not support the accented characters, the special glyphs, the tildes, the cedillas, the very marks that are essential to hundreds of the world's languages. If your company name includes an E with an accent, you can't register it. If your brand uses an N with a tilde, you are out of luck. You are forced to use a lesser, anglicized version. This is not just an inconvenience. It is an act of erasure. It is a silent message that, in the world of AI, your language, your identity, is not welcome. For a native English speaker, AI is obvious. It is a perfect, two-letter acronym for artificial intelligence. But what about the rest of the planet? What about the 1.3 billion people, 1.3 billion, who speak the Romance languages? For them, the term is not AI. The words are reversed. The adjective follows the noun. In Spanish, it's inteligencia artificial. IA. In Portuguese, it's intelligentsia artificial. IA. In French, it's intelligence artificielle. IA. In Italian, it's intelligenza artificial. IA. In Romanian, it's intelligenta artificiala. IA. This is not a niche preference. This is the native, natural, and correct acronym for nearly 1.5 billion people. This IA block is a massive, global community, and they are currently being locked out of the primary identity of the new technological age. They are being forced to use an English acronym on a domain registry that doesn't even support their native spelling. This is an Americanization of the Internet, a new linguistic colonization in progress. And what about other language families that use the Latin alphabet? The story gets even more fragmented. The assumption that AI is a global standard is, in fact, an illusion. In German, it's KI for Künstliche Intelligenz. In Polish, SI for Sztuczna Inteligencja. In Czech, UI for Umělá Intelligence. It is a symptom of English language dominance. But the IA block, the Romance languages, that is a consistent, unified, and massive linguistic group. So, let's explore this. What if there was a .ia? What would it mean? This is where the story gets truly powerful. The case for .ia is not just a commercial proposal. It's a discovery of a pre-existing identity, waiting to be claimed. First, let's look at the official ISO language codes, the global standards for identifying languages. The two-letter code, ISO 639-1. IA already exists. And its designation is almost poetic. It is the code for interlingua. What is interlingua? It's not an ancient language. It was a massive academic project, first presented in 1951. Its goal was to create an international auxiliary language, a bridge for the modern world. And how did its creators build it? They extracted the vocabulary and grammar from a set of control languages, primarily English, French, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese. Because 4 of the 5 primary sources are Romance, Interlingua has a distinct pan-Romance character. It looks and feels like a simplified, universal Romance language. Think about that. The official ISO code IA already represents a language specifically designed to unify the core Romance languages. It is the perfect, symbolic anchor for this new digital union. But the codes don't stop there. What about the language group? You might be thinking, Interlingua is one constructed language, not the whole family. You are absolutely correct. For that, we look to a different standard, ISO 639-5, which codes for entire language families. And the official, 3-letter code for the entire Romance language family is ROA. So, for a TLD pitch, we have 2 powerful technical facts. The group we are targeting is ROA. And the symbol, the 2-letter IA, already exists as an ISO code for a language created from that very group. The synergy is perfect. IA stands for Intelligentsia Artificial, and it also stands for the linguistic bridge Interlingua. So, who is this community? Who are the speakers of this ROA group, this IA block? When you think of Romance languages, your mind probably goes to Europe. You think of Paris, Rome, Madrid, Lisbon. This is the single biggest misconception. And the data that corrects it is the most powerful argument for the .ia domain. The Romance language group is no longer European. It has migrated. The center of gravity has shifted, dramatically and decisively. Let's look at the numbers. The total number of Romance speakers worldwide is approaching 1.4 billion people. Now, what percentage of those speakers actually live in Europe, the birthplace of Latin? The answer is a staggering 7.4%. Let me repeat that. Fewer than 8% of all Romance speakers live in Europe. So where are the other 92.6%? They are in the New World. And they are in Africa. The Americas. North and South account for 68.5% of all Romance speakers. Almost 7 out of every 10. Africa accounts for 24.1% and is the fastest growing demographic. Combined, the Americas and Africa are home to over 833 million Romance speakers. This is not a European language group anymore. It is in America's Africa geolinguistic sphere. Let's follow the data because it is fascinating. Let's start with Spanish. Approximately 600 million speakers. Where is its center? It is not Spain. The number 1 largest Spanish-speaking country in the world is Mexico, with approximately 132 million speakers. And the number 2 largest Spanish-speaking country. It is the United States, with current estimates between 57 and 60 million total speakers. Colombia is third, with over 50 million. Spain is a distant 4th. The center of the Spanish language is fundamentally in the Americas. Now, let's look at Portuguese. Around 265 million speakers. This one is even more dramatic. It is overwhelmingly dominated by the Americas. Brazil, with over 200 million speakers, accounts for more than 78% of all Portuguese speakers on Earth. The language is also powerfully anchored in Africa, with Angola and Mozambique adding another 50 million speakers combined. Finally, let's look at French. Around 320 million speakers. Its future is no longer in Europe. Its future is in Africa. An estimated 62% of all French speakers now live in Africa, led by nations like the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which has over 50 million speakers. By the year 2050, it is projected that over 90%, 90, of all Francophones will live in Africa. This is a profound demographic shift. And it reveals a massive void in our digital infrastructure. We have the .eu, a top-level domain that represents European geopolitical integration. We have the BRICS bloc, an economic grouping that, yes, famously started as a simple investment bankers acronym. These blocs have digital and economic identities. But what about this massive, 833 million strong New World Linguistic Union? They are a geolinguistic superpower, and they have no digital home. They are an entire cultural sphere, left to use an English acronym on a technically limited domain. The .iatld is the natural, necessary counterweight. It is the flag for this America's Africa bloc. This brings us back to the ground. Back to the technical failure of .ai and the precise, modern solution of .ia. The .aitld, as a legacy registry, only accepts the basic ASCII character set. That means A through Z, 0 through 9, and the hyphen. That's it. This means a Brazilian AI company cannot register intelligentsia.ai. That E with the circumflex is forbidden. A Spanish data science blog cannot register espanol.ai. That N is not valid. A French language research group in the DRC cannot register rev.ai. They are forced to deaccent to neuter their own names and brands. To use intelligentsia, Espanol, reve. This is a technical barrier that enforces linguistic conformity. The proposed .iatld would be built as a modern, inclusive registry from the ground up. It would fully embrace a core feature of the modern Internet, IDN, which stands for Internationalized Domain Names. Here is how it works. A user, a person in Brazil, types intelligentsia.ia into their browser. Their browser automatically translates that name into a special ASCII-only format that the Domain Name System, or DNS, can read. This format is called Punycode. The Punycode for intelligentsia would look something like XN, intelligentsia, 98. The user never has to see this. They only see their native language. But the system, the registry, is built to accept and resolve these XN prefixes. This isn't a fantasy. This is a standard, robust feature of the modern Internet, used by TLDs all over the world. But it's a feature that .ai lacks. An application for .ia to ICANN, the organization that governs the Internet's domains, would include a label generation ruleset, or LGR. This LGR would be a formal list of all the Unicode characters we plan to support. N, C, A, O, A, all the beautiful, essential characters of the Romance languages. This single technical feature is a massive advantage. It is the central argument for serving the geolinguistic bloc. It is a modern TLD feature that the legacy.ai domain simply cannot offer. So let's put it all together. This is not just a request for another domain. This is a chance to fix a mistake. A chance to build a better, more inclusive, and more accurate digital world. The .iatld is the new linguistic union. It's a digital flag for a community that has been hiding in plain sight. It is a Romance AI digital union for the new world and for Africa. This is a market, a community, of 833 million people. It's an identity that resonates across the Spanish language AI research hubs in Mexico, in Colombia, in Argentina. It's a home for the massive, booming tech sector in Brazil, Latin America's largest economy. It's a vital tool for the 60 million strong Hispanic tech market inside the United States, a market that will drive innovation for decades. And it's a critical piece of infrastructure for the fast-growing Francophone and Lusophone innovation hubs in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, in Algeria, in Angola, in Senegal. This is an idea whose time has come. Just as .eu provides a digital identity for one bloc, and the BRICS acronym gave a name to an economic one, .ia will provide a necessary and powerful identity for the 833 million strong America's Africa Linguistic Union. It is a correction to the Americanization of the Internet. It is a stand against linguistic colonization. It is a chance for ICANN and the ISO to make an exception in favor of the people this time. Where .eu represents European integration, .ia represents the New World and Africa's linguistic and technological sphere. United by a shared Romance heritage, a massive demographic scale, and a future that will be defined by intelligentsia artificial.